All right, so it is January 20th, 2020, and I'm sitting with Atticus Jacob Ryan Van Voorst, who is 11 years old, and I'm asking him some questions. So, how would you describe your family? What makes being a Van Voorst a Van Voorst? What are things, if you're going to be a Van Voorst, what are stuff you're gonna want to do or have to do or like to do?
Have Jesus in your life
Mm-hmm.
and have a home, home, not just a house, a homey home.
Mm.
And we're close to not being Dutch, so I want to. So I'm gonna go over and marry a Dutch woman, so that way the line won't stop.
So being a Van Voorst means you're Dutch, or that we like being Dutch. We
Mhm.
love Jesus. And what do you mean by, you said it's not just a house, but it's a home. What do you mean by that?
I mean that we help each other out, and we don't just have a home where we keep it nice.
Mm.
Like when Mom tells us to deep clean, we don't like deep cleaning, but we're like, okay, I guess we're gonna have to. If we want a home, we need a clean home.
Yeah, and when it's hard work, but when it's done, don't you like living in it better when it's all
Mhm.
nice and clean? Yeah,
And it's easier to live in too.
it's easier to live in. It's more fun. Yeah.
Mhm.
So who are some of your heroes?
Audie Murphy and the Martyrs.
So Audie Murphy. Tell me about Audie Murphy. Why is he one of your heroes?
Because when all the other soldiers were scared and they were like retreating, Audie Murphy just jumped into a burning jeep and started blasting a machine gun at tanks and troops till he ran out of ammo.
And is Audie Murphy an American soldier?
Mhm.
And what war was he part of?
World War II.
World War II. So was he in Europe or was he in the Pacific?
He was in Europe and got wounded 3 times.
Oh, okay. So he was engaged in the European theater. What do you know? What battles he was engaged in at all? Or?
I think he went through Italy into Germany.
Okay. And then you said the martyrs, like the Christian martyrs. Like, what about them? Why are they your heroes?
Because they died for the faith and they wouldn't back down from Christ. They loved him so much that they'd rather die than not have Jesus.
Hmm.
They'd rather live a short life with Jesus than have a long life without him.
Hmm. So, Atticus, what would you like to do when you get older?
Be a father, a pastor, and a Marine.
Okay, so a father, a pastor, and a Marine. I assume that you also probably want to get married, be a husband. You want to have kids, I'm guessing.
A bunch of them. But that's the thing. I'm gonna be a Marine, which is gonna be hard because we're gonna be moving everywhere.
Yeah, so that those two things will have to be taken into account. To have a large family and a pastor and be a Marine, those all kind of influence each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why do you want to be a husband and a father and a pastor and a Marine and have lots of kids?
I feel like being a father is a manly thing to do and be, and taking on the responsibility of a bunch of kids is hard because they're always screaming at each other like, I had that first. No, I did. No, I did. And it's hard to like keep your temper under control and stop everybody from doing this and doing that. That's hard work, and a man that can take on hard responsibility is a tough man. He can do really anything with Jesus, and
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so, do you have any idea, like, what kind of things are the Van Voorst hoping to do this year? What are things that we were hoping to accomplish?
getting to Custer, South Dakota at a decent part of in fall. Or
Yep, so a family vacation is important to us, right? Anything else like that we do, like kind of on a yearly basis, or that we're wanting to do this year in particular, or?
Memorial Day, s'mores.
Yep, Memorial Day, yeah.
Memorial Day.
Yeah.
And the fire, I'm hoping we can do the fire pit that me, Finn, and then dug in the patio.
Yep.
But
Yep,
dug
the fire
out.
pit. We do that.
We just dug a big hole in the patio.
And roast the marshmallows, yep.
And then we'd stick a bunch of sticks in there and just light a fire and cook them up.
What are you personally hoping to accomplish this year, Atticus? What are you wanting to do this year?
To start my mowing business, or at least practice to earn up money for a truck.
Okay, so you want to start a mowing business so that you can start earning money because you want to. One of your long-term goals is that you want to buy a pickup truck, right? Mm-hmm. Yep. And have you already thought about what kind of pickup you want?
I keep changing my mind, but for the moment, one cab Chevy Silverado.
Okay. Subject to change, you said. Okay. And what is your biggest hope, and then in addition, like, what is your biggest fear? Like, what would you say are your biggest hopes, and then what is your biggest fear?
I hope to be a Christian all of my life, and to teach my kids to be Christians, and I want all of them to be Christians too.
Mm-hmm.
And my biggest fear is I'm worried that I might back down from being a Christian because the road is rough. I want to stay strong. I'm not a very strong person on the inside. I can be hurt easily, and I can stop doing hard stuff because, like, when I get in a fight with a kid, I'm just like, I'm out. I'm just done.
Yeah, so sometimes the hard thing is hard to keep doing.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds like I hear a theme, like your heroes are all people who were strong even when it was really hard, like Audie Murphy and the Martyrs. They held strong even when it was hard, and the things that you want to do, like being a dad and a pastor, are hard things, and so you have your heart set on things that are hard, and your biggest hopes is that you would be able to do those things. So your biggest fear is that you would fall short of those, or that you would, in the moment of testing when it's really hard, that you would fall short. And that's kind of like, am I hearing that right? Because it's all kind of one story. You know, there's a proverb that says, if you faint in the day of adversity, your strength is small. So it's saying, like, if you're strong, and then all of a sudden when you need to be strong, you're not, then you're not really all that strong. If you're only strong when it's not required, then you're not really that strong. But if you faint, if you get weak in the day of adversity, when it gets tough, when the road gets hard, and so that kind of, then your strength really amounts to nothing. And so you're wanting to be truly strong. Any last words or anything you'd like to say? Does that make sense? Or is that accurate? Would you say that too, or?
Yeah. Like, somebody could say, like, if I got caught by the Japanese in World War II and be tortured, I wouldn't back down. But then when you actually face it, you're like, ah!
Yeah. Was there anybody in the Bible who's like, I would die for you, and then turned out not to do that? Can you think of any people in the Bible or stories of, like, people who are like, I'll follow you, Jesus, no matter what?
I remember, like, there was a story of, like, when Jesus, like, where he asks the guy, do you want to follow me? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, let me just go say bye to my mom and dad and brothers and sisters first. And he's like, no, you're either coming with me or just staying. And so he stayed. And there's one I remember, I just can't get it into my head.
Well, do you remember the story of, like, the Apostle Peter? And he said, I'll follow you even to death. And then Jesus said, You're
gonna deny me 3 times. And he was like, no, I won't.
I would never do that.
And then later he denied him. And then when Jesus was being led to the cross, Jesus was disappointed. Like, he knew he was gonna do it. And then Peter cried. He left off and cried.
And then what ended up happening with Peter? Was that the end of his story? Did he just stop being a Christian, or what happened?
No, he actually started being a very famous pastor at the time. He was put in jail multiple times, and an angel got him out of jail once. And he went to his friend's house, and they were like, "Who's you?" And the maid was like, "Who's you?" And he was like, "It's Peter." And then she just left off to tell her friends. And then he was like, "Why didn't you open the gate? Let me in."
So I think that can probably be a source of encouragement for you, Atticus, that the Apostle Peter, who walked with Jesus for 3 years, he wanted to be a Christian. He wanted to stay strong. And Jesus said, there's going to come a point of testing and you're going to fail. But it's going to be okay because you will repent and you will come back. And then after Peter failed, Jesus restored him. And then Peter went on to be stronger than he ever was before. And so I think that's maybe a good lesson even for you, Atticus, to remember that the thing that you want to be strong for Jesus is a great thing to want. And Peter wanted that too. And when he failed, Jesus was there and forgave him and restored him. And he ended up being even stronger and stronger. And he was able to do great things for God because God helped him. And he forgave him for his weakness. So I think you're right to worry that that's a possibility. But I also think you have great reason to hope that if you continue to follow Jesus and if you fail, that if you repent, Jesus will restore you, just like he restored Peter, and then he will make you strong and keep you from failing again. Because Peter then, like you said, went to jail and did not back down, and he ended up being crucified upside down by Nero, and he died for the faith. And so he did end up dying with Jesus. It just took him longer than he thought. Anything else you'd like to say?
Is there another question?
Nope.
Then no.
All right, love you, buddy.
Love you too.